In the summer of 2005, I had the opportunity to travel to the Galapagos Islands thanks to a Teacher Creativity Fellowship funded by Lilly Endowment. As a high school biology teacher at Lafayette Jefferson High School, I found this to be an awesome experience, and I would love to share a little bit of our adventures with you. We flew from Indianapolis to Newark, New Jersey, and then from Newark we flew down to the South American country of Ecuador to the capital, Quito, and from Quito we then flew 600 miles west out into the Pacific to the Galapagos Islands, which are actually a cluster of 13 major islands which jutted up from the bottom of the ocean by volcanic activity within the last 7 to 9 million years. They're relatively recent in origin, the youngest island being only about 1 million years old. We landed on the island of San Cristobal, and from there we boarded a dinghy or panga that taxied us out to our ship called the Eric. That's my wife Gail on the left. She accompanied me on the trip and helped with a lot of the photography. The ship that we stayed on, the Eric, was a motor yacht that had a crew of 6 and approximately 16 passengers, and it was our home during the 8 days in the Galapagos. That is one of our guides, Orlando, briefing us as we embarked on our journey, and this is the other guide, Juan Carlos, giving a lecture the night before one of our adventures the following day. We encountered many interesting plants and animals uniquely adapted to the Galapagos Islands. We noticed a very common tree that covered many of the islands called the Palo Santo tree, which looked like it was dead. At the beginning of the rainy season, around Christmas time, it blooms and becomes very green, and so the natives call it the holy tree. Sea lions were on every beach that we landed on. They exhibited no fear at all. Very friendly, which makes sense if you consider that there are no large land mammal predators in the Galapagos Islands, so animals that live there never have evolved a fear of things like lions or tigers or bears. Or humans. We encountered 3 related species of seabirds commonly known as boobies, and the word booby is derived from a Spanish word for clown, which really fits because they look very comical as they're waddling around on land. The first of these, the Nazca booby, as you can see in these pictures, makes its nest on the ground where it lays 1 to 2 eggs, and the adults fish out in the open ocean. They're tremendous dive bombers, very agile in the air and underwater. A second related species, known as the red-footed booby, very recognizable by its brightly colored red feet. Unlike the Nazca boobies, which make their nests on the ground, these birds make their nests up in the trees, thus avoiding competition for living space. The third and most popular species we encountered was the blue-footed booby, and as you can see here, they lay 1 to 2 eggs, just like the other 2 species of boobies do, and like the others, showed absolutely no fear of humans, which again is related to the fact that there are no large, naturally occurring land mammals that are predators on these islands. The frigate birds quite literally are pirates because they make their living stealing fish from the boobies. The males have a large inflatable red pouch on their chest that they blow up and inflate as a means of attracting females. The waved albatross is one of the largest birds in the Galapagos Islands, with a wingspan well over 6 feet. These birds are quite impressive to watch. Of all the species of cormorants in the world, the Galapagos cormorants are the only flightless ones. With the absence of large land mammal predators, they have lost the ability to fly. Their wings are very reduced now, but they're very streamlined, good swimmers, good at catching fish. Unlike other iguanas in the world, the Galapagos iguanas, the marine iguanas, actually enjoy swimming. They swim in the ocean in the morning to eat algae, green algae, but the water is very cold, and so they climb up on land to warm up in the warm tropical sun. Their black coloration helps them to absorb sunlight efficiently. The Sally Lightfoot crabs were everywhere. Here's a dead one that I found on the beach. Their bright red coloration against the black volcanic rock was quite striking, and they were literally on every island that we encountered. Lava lizards were on many of the islands as well, and they reminded me of the anoles that we often see in Florida scampering about. Many different species of lava lizards could be found. And also this plant, lava cactus, I was impressed with how hardy it was and how it was able to grow in harsh, dry environments. Here it is growing amidst lava rocks where there hasn't even been enough time for soil formation. This plant, Tequila, is also very well adapted to harsh, dry environments. Here we can see it growing in lava ash. Has an extensive root system so that whenever there is a little bit of rainfall, it's able to efficiently gather up the moisture. This plant, the prickly pear cactus, very well adapted to harsh, dry environments, is a favorite food of the Galapagos tortoise. Espino, another plant with remarkable adaptations to dry environments, has very fine, thin, needle-shaped leaves that are very efficient at conserving water. The giant tortoises were quite impressive, some weighing up close to 500 pounds, and with a lifespan of 200 years, it's very possible that some of the very creatures that we saw on our trip were around when Darwin visited the Galapagos Islands in the early 1800s. For anybody who enjoys traveling and adventure, I would highly recommend a trip to the Galapagos Islands. It's relatively untouched, unspoiled, lots of things to learn about, lots of things to see, and one of the highlights of the trip was one of our snorkeling outings where we encountered this giant sea turtle. She swam right up beside us and peacefully swam alongside of us for about 5 minutes, and that was quite a highlight. I thank you for joining me on this short introduction to our trip to the Galapagos Islands. If you'd like to experience the Galapagos Islands in a little more detail, I encourage you to watch part 2 of this 2 DVD set. Part 2 is actually a little over a half hour in length. There is no narration in it, but it will allow you an opportunity through pictures and video clips to experience a virtual tour of the Galapagos Islands.